Hey, what is up guys, Marcy here, back to do another video, and as promised there's going to be a lot more content to come. I'm going to post a lot more highlights, so subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already to stay up to date with these games. I'm going to be posting a lot of awesome ones, and this one being one of them. This one was incredibly close, so we're going to see what happens here. I'm playing as the Scrin vanilla. As you see, I have a mastermind. And my opponent this game will be playing as Vanilla Nod. Tournament Creator has had a bit of a redesign over the past year. Unlike Green Zero, I have taken favour to the newly redesigned version. I like the defensive tower in the middle of the map, and the placement of the expansion points makes more sense. You can drop refineries in a more sensible location next to Tiberium, which is, you know, kind of the point. In R23, the expansion point radius for placing structures around it has been increased, so you can place it even better. You don't have to get double clicked. You don't have to build a structure like a tier 2 or a stasis chamber to space that second ref on the expansion to avoid both of them being destroyed by catalyst, because the expansion point provides you with enough ground control on its own. Go for my EMP control center early on this map. It's typical to go for 3 engineer opening, 2 to take over your 2 respective Tiberium spikes, and a 3rd for that EMP control center. I'm doing a little bit of a more costly opening with these 5 disintegrator squads. If I get a power plant, that's good enough for me, you know. It's likely I'm going to lose all of these disintegrator squads. With him having that Raider Buggy and 2 militants, he's going to negate much of that DPS. I've still got 3 squads remaining, so this will be slightly annoying for him to deal with. He somewhat underestimated the survivability of these descents. You want to kill them off as quick as possible since they have a lot of damage. Keeping the first shredder turret around that he built would have been a wiser choice. Powering down a refinery if you need power is always a smart move. Those consume the most power early on. It's better that than losing a power plant than losing your harvesters. In this game, I'm just going to be going for an eco strategy as Scrin. On this map, there's not much really you can do besides since early on to harass your opponent's spikes, which I did not do. Instead, I ventured into his base to attack a power plant. Usually players go for the Tiberium spikes. He maintains both of them. I'm going to be going to 3 refineries and 8 harvesters. I saw he expanded with his MCV to the spot where he can place refineries down. Late expansions usually mean that 2 war factories can be stopped even if you build a 3rd refinery, which is what I'm doing here. If it's an early 2 war factory, that's to say 4 harvesters, 2 refineries before packing up the MCV, that is a little more tricky to hold. Going for the 3rd refinery, possibly a mistake that can be punished. From my experience, that is what I have learned. A solid thing to do against Vanilla Nod as Scrin, if you're in this position, is just to build a bunch of disintegrators and seekers. Scrin and Reaper 17 enjoy descents with nice speed without the need for an upgrade. Traveler ones move slower prior to that upgrade compared to Scrin and Reaper. So it's a little more affordable for you as this faction. I'm going to get down my tier 3 as soon as possible. This is very much a meta strategy I'm doing in this game. I'm going for a tier 3 on 3 refineries to get those mechapedes out as soon as possible so I can negate the bike buggy that he's queuing. It even goes well against Scorpion tanks. If he transitions to those, the mechapedes will be able to make short work of those tanks if microed. It can be awkward, especially in this particular matchup. If the Scorpion tanks get upgraded with that laser capacitors, obviously problems can arise. I've got 3 groups of Descent Seeker. one on the far left of the map. I've got another to bait him to follow that group. I want to ideally get these 5 disintegrators into his base unnoticed. And I've pulled his army away from those 5 disins. I've got 2 mechapeds out. Something I like to do as Scrin is not develop the mechapeds until you really need to engage with them. Sure, you'll have a bunch of mecha heads, but you don't really need to spend that $600 right away. And if you do, you can sell your drone platform off and develop them all at once and just go all in. Generally speaking, you don't really need your drone platform if your opponent is going all in and putting that much pressure onto you. But I got that refinery with those 5 disins, so that paid off for me. I'm going to return the favor here with my own EMP. This time I timed it. One of my mechapeds will likely fall since he's targeting down the heads. Not quite. That one mechapede is 1 shot away from death. But he does finish it off there with the remainder of his bike buggy. I see no more bike buggy being queued, so there's probably something like stealth tanks or an obelisk that's about to drop. Nevertheless, I'm just going to park my mechapeds here and get some repairs from this reconstruction drone support power. That was unexpected. A catalyst missile comes down, kills 3 mechapeds. That is a huge deal. Just as I was getting myself into a comfortable position with this Eradicator Hexbot on the way, there's even a flame tank. He's found my base with that flame tank. I'm going to be able to stop this though before he gets into my base and discovers the technology assembler. These mechapeds are returning home as quick as possible. There is an unupgraded flame tank, so it's going to be a little less damaging, but still a refinery and an upgraded power plant, that paid off. After getting hit by that first EMP, he's logically trying to kill this EMP control center. I too also want to do the same. It affected me badly earlier, losing a bunch of seekers. That reconstruction drone's power, even though I'm not repairing anything, it does provide vision radius, albeit in a small radius. It's great for scouting and keeping yourself in the game. If you want to win a base trade scenario, if you didn't know, the reconstruction drones count as a structure which can keep you in the game. I could have changed that, but you know what? It's such an iconic thing about the vanilla game that I just decided to keep it in. All these little things I deem to be interesting and not really affecting gameplay, I decided to keep in the game. Plus it keeps my 10 things you didn't know about Kane draft video relevant to this day, even in R23. Got the shard launcher upgrade on these seekers. Hexbot just moving in there with the triple disintegrator segments. That is pretty good since it can move and shoot with all of those disint segments. If you put shock troopers in the hex, then you can't shoot and move with it, which is way worse. Unless you want to kill aircraft, then in which case you've got no other choice. Another popular garrison as Scrin these days you see is the Ravagers. You see a lot of Ravagers in Hexbot, especially as Reaper, where they get that blue shard upgrade on their Hex. But yeah, I'm in his base here with these Seekers and Mechapeds. I took out that chemical plant, so I no longer have to fear of getting tip-veined in this field, which I'm sure he'd consider at this point. And I have not yet established an expansion. My opponent on the left-hand side, you see, does have a refinery there. And we've got a little bit of a counterattack in. This is kind of important to take out since those are tip core missile bikes. I do have an urgency of taking this out, but it looks like I missed the EMP strike with the majority of those bike buggy being able to escape there. But this shard launcher upgrade from the Seekers is definitely going to pay off now. Doesn't increase the damage per shot compared to no shards, but it increases the clip size from 3 to 15. So you get a 500% increase to the clip size. Huge. Haven't calculated the DPS, but it is about 225% more DPS, something like that. It's a lot. It's balanced though, since Seekers are pretty weak. They can be killed quite easily, as you saw. And especially against Nod, Seekers are seldom seen unless you're killing stealth tanks, or if a game descends into your opponent going for avatars and buggy and stealth tanks, which is what we're seeing here. So my choice to go into Seekers instead of tripods, which I feel most players would have done, I feel like it's the wiser choice. I'm going to try and take out this technology assembly. He doesn't have the... Actually, he does have the laser capacitor upgrade, so he can, if he chooses, go into laser scorpion tanks. That's always a thing. But he probably hasn't got the dozer blade upgrade, which is going to take him a minute to research. Me knowing this, I'm going back for my Warp Chasm. He can get a Redeemer out soon, since I just took out his tier 3. He would have loved to, but that's not really an option anymore for him. He's been trying to harass me. He's right to do so, since Scrin, when left untouched, are very powerful. There's avatars there to respond to these Seekers, to these Mechapedes. I'm going for Planetary Soul Carriers at this point. That must be annoying. One Seeker harassing your Harvester. There's a Shock Trooper there. I must have gotten that from selling my tier 3 or something. I don't imagine I ever queued a Shock Trooper. I've got some toxin segments on that Mechapede. Great against structures. You don't see it too often, but it can also heal allied units. But you want to make sure that the entire Mechapede consists of only toxin segments. Now, I did change it so that if you do have other segments, it's not going to damage the unit that you're trying to heal. Unless it's a Husk. Husks have to get killed for obvious reasons. But I got the first of, I hope, many planetary assault carriers. EMP comes down, not on the pack. He's like, yeah, I can kill that pack. It's just one pack. I'm killing this Hex here right now. And since he lost his tier 3 earlier, he doesn't have the redemption. Imagine if he had redemption here. It would be GG right now. Because I wouldn't have anything to contend with this infantry army. He's feeding resources to this Hex spot. There's more and more infantry coming in to kill this Eradicator. Something he can do here is drop a Voice of Kane statue. That will increase the rate of fire. I'm now going to be forced to face this Eradicator Hex spot and just move it in. Hope he pulls back, but he's dropping the quad turret, tip core, missile SAMs, and those are going to be doing a lot of damage, and they're placed very strategically next to my dual gravity stabilizer. He's going to be able to camp and destroy the Devastator warships that come out. Fortunately, though, he's only got a handful of turrets, including those hubs. Even if you kill all of the turrets in R23, the quad turret on those SAM turrets will keep the base defense up and running. I used the EMP there on the defensive towers just to keep this pack alive. I deemed getting an extra pack out to be extra worth it, and here you see I'm falling apart. I've lost my Eradicator. The Devastator warships are being camped outside of the gravity stabilizer, and now he's just plopping down these missile launchers. And this infantry is going to clean up shop. I have very little here to defend this off. Just 3 buzzer hives. I still main control a build queue, so I can still place buzzer hives. I can even go for a stasis shield, but I don't imagine a stasis shield is going to be of too much utility currently. What I really want to do is use these packs to buff the Devastators. If you use the packs in conjunction with the Devastators and the packs will receive a buff. You're going to get a nice 25% increase to the attack damage, plus the heal rate is a massive on those units whilst in the Ion Storm, but they don't heal whilst in combat. They have to be idle. And one more pack is on the cusp of being destroyed. These Devastators are doing what they can. More SAM turrets being deployed. Another typical SAM turret gets dropped. Likely will be taking out my Devastator warship, but not before itself got taken out. And this drone platform of mine is taking huge damage. Double dropping those turrets is going to destroy my air force here, especially now since he's built tip core missile bikes. There's like half a dozen tip core bikes in there. Look at the damage being inflicted. He's still got his MCV deployed, I think, unless I destroyed it, in which case he does not he no longer has any ground control here. And now I have the opportunity to take out these avatars, but I lost my Devastators, so no longer do I have the siege potential of those Devastator warships to take out the remainder of this base. What I can do now is build Disintegrator squads, so we went from tier 4 capital ships to the weakest of the weakest units, Buzzers and Disintegrators. We're back to tier 1 for, quite frankly, both of us now, since I've decided, hey, that's enough with the packs. Let's sell that tier 3 off and go for these assimilators. I want to queue assimilators and get those units as quick as possible. The crash no longer happens anymore when capturing husks in situations such as this. So yeah, another game has been spared of crashing thanks to the crash fix I did in R23E. And these hubs are going to be destroyed. I'm looking at these extra engineers that I built and thinking, hey, let's just take over that defensive tower in the middle of the map. You're questioning this EMP, but yeah, I want to stop that elite bike from going heroic. Thank you very much. I don't want to see that promote, especially in a low eco game that this is turning out to be. Now, I have been doing a good job in cleaning up the blue Tiberium throughout this game. There's a counter-attack happening here with these Disintegrators, but he's got infantry, more of it, and that's not really going to do a whole lot for me, those Disintegrators. I took the defensive tower, so that could be useful. I could destroy the bridge segment with that if it's not engaging infantry. Just to deny him passage over that bridge. Destroy this tower. Just one random pack from the fleet of warships I had before. And this is somewhat of a weird game this has turned into now. Both of us don't really know what to do. I think at this point, my best bet is to go back for Eradicator as soon as possible. I've still got my tier 3 around, so all it would require me to do is build a Warp Chasm, which is what I'm going to do now. Harvest is being harassed. I've managed to keep a number of those Harvesters alive throughout this match. This drone platform is so low on health, it's going to die to anything really. If the bikes home in, you can take that one out. But I can rebuild my drone ship, still got a gravity stabilizer around. And this has been a pretty action-packed game. I think you guys will agree, and it's by no means over just yet. I know a lot of people aren't the greatest fans of Scrin, but this game, in my opinion, was really, really fun, and you can see just how close it's turning out to be. Harvester goes down, and he's trying to kill that pack. If he had a bike or two, yeah, then maybe he could destroy it. Harvesters will be going down, but at the cost of him getting a heroic bike. So yeah, another twist in this game, full of many twists. Heroic bike. Never counter an odd player with an intact eco and a heroic bike in their arsenal. That's going to be very hard to kill. But you know what? If he stays still with that bike, I can rip off its stealth detector and give it to my avatar. That's an insta-kill right there. Even to enemy units, you can just steal their units. Just blow up the enemy beam cannons and flame tanks. You're never going to see an enemy stealth tank be destroyed by an avatar. It's just not something you're going to see in the history of this game. I've got a plan with these descents, even though 2 descent squads can't really do a lot. I'm going to keep them nearby to this oil depot, since oil depots have the same damage output as the Tiberium vein detonation. So if those units were to find themselves around it, and I force fired the oil depot, then hey, I've got myself a few units a few less units to kill. Both of us taking out our respective spikes almost simultaneously, in fact. And I think now, considering he's not got a tier 3 and he's building up infantry, I've got 4 Devastators and he's got Bike Buggy. The one thing that counters both threats somewhat, but not really great, is just going Gunwalkers. I think Gunwalker spam is what I need to build at this moment, since the Eradicator Hexbot and these 3 avatars are going to sufficiently deal with any armor that he produces. He's not going to try and stop this with Scorpion tanks anymore. There's just too much for him to take out. He's going to try mass infantry. But as Scrin, I have more tricks up my sleeve. I can even use the station shield, which I have not yet used in this game. Plus I can phase field a number of these gunwalkers and crush his infantry. So I'm expecting mass infantry. What I can also do here is pack up my drone platform and move it towards this hexapod, just to plant down base defenses and to also reclaim the avatar husk if they somehow manage to fall. So now I've got my station shield support power available to me, and I deem, okay, let's limit the firepower of this army a little bit, use it on the infantry. That pack there is going to probably go down. I activated the Iron Storm. That's a good thing to do since it increases the survivability of it, increases the armor, which in turn reduces incoming enemy damage. And this Eradicator is just going to stomp all over this infantry. Gunwalkers above, taking out the Venoms. The Heroic Bike is really all that he has left. This Eradicator is just Q moving into his base, and that's going to be it. That's going to be GG on Tournament Creator, a really action-packed game. And I thought that was definitely worthy of a video, and I agreed with the Twitch comments. Yes, that was a great game to showcase here on YouTube. I took a sip of my wine. Yes, that was warranted the wine in that moment. Anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed this game. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button. I really appreciate that. And before I go, I'd like to thank my patrons for supporting this game, this channel, and continuing involvement as far as the patches and bug fixes and desyncs are concerned. So I'll see you all in the next video, guys. This is it from me, Marsleeve. Peace out.